Hi, 7th grade, it's Mrs. Antos. Hope you guys are doing well. Before we get into our new lesson for today, I wanted to just throw out a few reminders out there. I'm still missing a few Chapter 8 assessments. There's two parts. There's a crossword puzzle and then the scavenger hunt, going around a room trying to find stuff. So if you can get those uploaded into Google Assignments or Google Classroom ASAP, that would be great. That way you don't get overwhelmed or bogged down with too much work, okay? We are going to start Chapter 9, and Chapter 9 is very similar to Chapter 8. It's the second part of our geometry unit, and with Chapter 9, there are going to be a lot of definitions, just like in Chapter 8, and there's going to be formulas. So what I want you guys to do is make sure you are doing the same thing as you would in class. I want you to take notes, put them in your binder, and then I also want you to write out the definitions on note cards, and also this time write out the formulas. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started with 9.1. What I'm going to do with my lessons, I'm going to try and video them and kind of like pare down to the important stuff. And I am going to include the PowerPoint that I would normally show you guys in class. That way you have the reference, okay? My videos have been kind of long, the ones that I've recorded for some of the other classes, so I'm trying, like I said, to pare it down a little bit to make it a little bit easier for you. So when I write down a definition or a term, I want you to make sure you're finding the definition in the book, or on the PowerPoint. So if you want to pause the video and write it in your notes, you can, or you can go back and do it, whatever works for you, okay? So the very first section is perimeter and circumference, okay? So we're going to talk about the first definition I need you guys to write down and put on note cards is perimeter, okay? And the perimeter is the distance around a figure. So you're basically adding all the sides together. So if you have something like a triangle or an octagon or hexagon, you can simply just add the sides together. There isn't a special formula for perimeter unless we're talking about a rectangle, okay? So perimeter is just adding the sides. That's the kind of general definition for that. If you have a rectangle, however, there is a formula. You can still rectangle, be nice if I could spell. You can still add all the sides together, or you can use this formula, which is 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. That only works for the perimeter of a rectangle. So when you write your note cards, make sure you go ahead and kind of write that down, as that's what the formula is for. It's not for all perimeters, just for the perimeter of a rectangle. Okay, so if we take a quick example and look at, let's say, a triangle, and I have sides of 25 centimeters, 25 centimeters, and 15 centimeters, I'm literally adding those up together. So I'm going to say perimeter equals 25 plus 25 plus 15. When you add those together, you get 65 centimeters, okay? Perimeter is as simple as that. Okay, now if you're doing a rectangle, you can, like I said, you can add up all the sides, or you can use the formula. I kind of want you guys to get accustomed to using the formula. I think it'll just make life a little bit easier for you. So if I have 14 feet and 18 feet. To find the perimeter of this rectangle, I'm going to simply take 2 times my length plus 2 times my width. So perimeter equals 2 times 18 plus 2 times 14. Don't forget order of operations. So you have to do your multiplication first. You get 36 plus 28. When you add those together, you get 64 feet. Okay, so that's perimeter. Perimeter hopefully is a really big review for you guys. You guys should have been doing perimeter now for a couple years, but it's very important to make sure we're understanding perimeter. Okay, next concept is circumference. Okay, I'm gonna switch out my dry erase board. Sorry, some of these are pretty messy. Maybe save this for later. Okay, again, I'm not gonna write out this whole definition, but this is a definition you wanna write down, and you definitely wanna have the formula for this. Okay, the next term is circumference. Circumference is going to be, you can kind of liken it to perimeter, but it's for circles only. Okay, so it's a different concept, but it's in the same vein. It's in the same kind of idea pattern. So circumference measures the distance around the circle. Okay, there are two formulas for circumference. Okay, the first is pi times the diameter, and we're going to talk about these in a second. And the second is 2 times pi times the radius. So if you look at a circle, the circle has a center point. If you take a pen and you go from the center to one of the edges, that's going to be your radius. Okay, we call that R. And if you go from one part of the circle to the other side, going through that center, that is called your diameter. So depending on which value you have, you can use one of the formulas there. So if I have a circle that looks like this, and I say I have the number 12 here, 12 inches, which formula will I use? I'm going to use my circumference equals pi times diameter formula. I have the diameter here. This 12 is diameter, it's not the radius. Radius is half of your diameter, okay? You can either use, at this point, it doesn't matter to me because we're at home. You can use 3.14 for pi, which you know that makes me nervous because it's not accurate. But if you can use that, or you can use the pi button on your calculator, and depending on what they're asking you, like if they ask you to round to the nearest tenth, you'd multiply those two numbers together, round up, and you get 37.7 inches. Notice I use the about symbol instead of equal. Whenever we're doing circumference, we're never going to find the exact amount because pi is infinite and non-repeating. It's an irrational number, so it's going to go on and on forever. Okay. And then finally, let's try one with, a radius instead. And I'm going to say that my radius is 18 centimeters. So now we're going to use that other formula. Circumference equals 2 times pi times radius. Remember, I said radius is half the diameter. So if we want to get that formula equal to the one we previously used, we have to double it. Okay. So you're going to take 2 times 3.14, I'm using parentheses, times 18, whoopsies. And once you plug that into your calculator, you're going to end up with 113 centimeters. Okay, so that is pretty much it in a nutshell. I am going to post your homework in a separate post under the assignment. I'm going to try and create like a Google form so it's a lot easier for you guys to do instead of uploading photos. But I'm still trying to figure that out. So fingers crossed, hopefully that's what I'm going to have up there. If not, I'll probably have you just do some textbook work. So I'll let you know in the assignment. All right, hope you guys are having a great day. I will talk to you later. Don't forget our Zoom on Wednesday at 1 o'clock. And also, if you want to set up any private Zooms with me, if you have any questions, feel free to send me an email. All right, take care.